Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to the new series with a new look, and everything's new today. It's the Chess Classics You Must Know, episode 1. And this series has been started because I wanted you guys to know about the great masters of the past. And this was the idea with which this entire series has been formulated. Right now it's me alone who's going to take you through this series, but you never know, someone may join in at some point. But I've tried to make it very crisp today. By the way, welcome to everyone who's here. And yes, I am clean shaven and a new look because new series, new. And So what the concept of this is that I'll be giving you 10 positions throughout as I explained to you, and there's a timer here. Okay, so the timer is 1 hour. Okay, and we are going to look at this game in 1 hour, but not just this game, but we are also going to learn how to analyze this game afterwards. So I'm going to switch to another scene and then we are going to analyze it together. I'm going to show you how to analyze this game, and it's going to be, I have to complete it in 1 hour. That's the plan. So I guess that makes it clear. Yes, good morning to everyone in the chat. Nice to see all of you here. And well, we'll keep going through this series. It will be very interesting. Nilo Burman, Sagar sir is back, season 2 OP. Nilo, there are more interesting ideas that will be launched very soon, in a day or two, and you will know about it. This is one of the series that I'm very excited for because, if you know about the great games and of the masters of the past, your chess level itself increases because you know about how these players played, and you can use some of the ideas, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly, in your own games. Okay, so let's begin, and I'm going to start the timer because I want to make it crisp and nice. Okay, not not go on endlessly. So many people say they can hear me on 2x and it's much faster, so then this series becomes like an half an hour, like every episode is just half an hour, not 1 hour for you. Okay, so let's begin. The timer starts. So the game today that we are going to see is Mikhail Botvinnik versus Jose Raul Capablanca. Now, Botvinnik at that point in 1938, when this game was played, was not a world champion. Capablanca also was not. The world champion was, guys, can you tell me who the world champion was at this point? I should maybe enable the low latency thing so that to save time. Next class onwards I'm going to do that. But for now, let's live with this, what I have. Alekhine was the world champion at that point, very rightly said. And he was the person who was the world champion here. And at this point in the match, in 1938, in this tournament that was held in 1938 by a famous Dutch company called AVRO, and it said that, okay, we are going to have 8 of the best players in the world play against each other. So there was Ruben Fine, there was Keres, there was Botvinnik, Alekhine also played, who was the world champion, Capablanca, and all of these players played together in this tournament, and at the end of it, whoever won it would challenge Alekhine. That was the plan. But it so turned out that World War II began, and all the plans were foiled. Keres had won the tournament. Second was, I think, Fine, and third was Botvinnik. So let's begin with the game. Botvinnik was young. Capablanca was kind of the wounded world champion. You can say he'd been world champion few years ago. Botvinnik was like, this youngster, I want to beat Capablanca. He began with d4, his favorite move. Knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4. And this is the opening. Can you tell me what's the name of this opening? Yeah, what's the name of this opening that was played? And guys, let's be quick, let's save time because we have to finish it in 1 hour. Yeah, that is the plan. We have to respect time. Yeah, Nimzo Indian, fantastic guys, fantastic. Nimzo Indian is the opening that was played here, and now e3 was played by Botvinnik. It's called the Rubinstein system, and it's more kind of conservative way to play, because usually you want to put your bishop outside the pawn chain and then play e3. But here with the move e3, you are like, I'm first going to build my center, keep it strong, and then later on I will unleash the pawn and my bishop will come out at the right moment, not now. So e3, and this is where Capablanca played d5. Now my understanding of Nimzo Indian back in the day was something like this. If you play the Nimzo Indian, you do not play the move d5. That's what I thought to myself. I was like, why? What's the reason? Okay, I'll give you the reason. Let's imagine that black takes. Okay, black takes this, and this is one of the main ideas in Nimzo. Yeah, you take on c3 so that you leave your opponent with a doubled pawn. Now when your opponent has a doubled pawn, you have paid a price for that. The price is that you gave up your bishop on c3 for a knight. Now in return, what did you get? You got the doubled pawns. So usually what I would do is I would play c5, restraining these pawns. If white takes, then these are tripled pawns, that too isolated, horrible. I don't want it. So, and then I would slowly launch an attack with knight to c6, knight a5, b6, bishop a6, and I would put pressure on c4 so much with rook c8, and I would love playing the Nimzo in this manner. Yeah, it was fantastic. But then someone plays the move d5, and I asked myself, what exactly is going on? And as white, how can you take advantage of this move? Can you tell me? White to move, what did Botvinnik play? I'll explain to you further, but here's your first question. This is the first point. As I said, there'll be 10 points today. So first point for the day, white to play. What would white play? What should white play here is the question. Well, Kushal, queen a4 check means knight c6, so it's not such a good move. For example, if you give a check, I play knight c6, it's okay. I mean, yes, knight is slightly misplaced, but queen is also misplaced. It's playable. Yes, I think Utkarsh Gupta is right, and who else? Pavel Strassel, Sudarshan, Ashil. Yeah, the move that I thought was amazing is a3. I said to myself, a3. And why? Because if you go back bishop e7, which is okay, fine, you can do that. But then you just came here and you went back, which is like a loss of tempo. So the main move, and that's what even Capablanca played in the game, is to take on c3. And I take back, and look, now my doubled pawns can be undoubled at any moment because of the move d5. So when I was young, I saw this game and I was like, d5 is a bad move. Later on, we will see when we analyze. Maybe it's not the worst move possible, it's pretty decent. So b into c3, black went c5. Okay, white now took, pawn takes. Pawn takes makes sense. If you take with the knight, I can always kick you away with c4 at the right time. So pawn takes. And now comes my next question. It's time for you to make a plan, you know, a beautiful plan. This is what this game is all about. Look at this structure. Okay, white has this structure, and I want you to come up with next, not just one move, but a plan for placing these two pieces. How should white place his pieces in this position? This is my second question to you. How would you continue white to play? Well, coder's block, this becomes some kind of a Ragozin because of bishop to b4 that was played, and then d5 as well. So when bishop b4 was played, this is Nimzo. But when you already play d5, yes, it is sort of still in Nimzo territory, but you can also say it's Ragozin. Yeah, it's like a confluence of both the openings. Coming back here, how would you develop your two minor pieces? Where would you place them? That is the question. So Sudarshan P, very good. Suryansh Sharma, fantastic. Kushal Chess, very good. Kushal Chess, very smart. He's written the entire plan. Mitesh, fantastic. Tanisha Boramanikar, welcome. Yes, that is right. Who else? Who else? This is a brilliant position for sort of strategic thinking in chess. What is strategic thinking, or you can say long-term thinking? So Botvinnik came up with a plan here which was used for years and years together by the white players. You know what Botvinnik did here? He played his bishop to d3. Doesn't look too special, right? Yeah, black castled. And now here comes a very, very important move, which is knight to e2. And you may ask, hey, but didn't you tell us that when the knight is to be developed, f3 is the best square because it controls the center? Even Botvinnik knew that. But the idea of playing knight e2 is to place your pieces in such a way that your pawns remain very flexible. And look at what Botvinnik was scheming. He was going to castle. He would put his knight to g3. He would put his pawn to f3. And then he would break in the center with e4, when he would have a beautiful pawn center. And such a plan was very new back then. Everyone was so impressed with the way Botvinnik played this. It's really amazing, yeah. So b6 was played in the game, and b6, the idea is black says to white, hey, look, your bishop is really very active here. I don't like it. I'm coming to exchange this. Even at the cost of losing some time, it's fine. So Botvinnik says, never mind, I'm castling. Capablanca is like, I'm the old world champion. I'm the positional guru. I understand these positions well. I'm playing bishop a6. I want to exchange the bishops. Botvinnik says, okay, let's exchange. Knight takes. And now Botvinnik made a move which was not so great, because he played the move bishop b2. It's not really necessary to develop the bishop here, because the bishop is, after many years, people said bishop could be active here on this diagonal, on c1 g5. It could also be active on b2. It could be active anywhere. So why to sort of determine its place right away? Why don't we play, something like queen d3, then our plan knight g3, f3. So something like, knight b8 or knight c7, knight g3. I'm just making some random moves. And now f3, trying to get in e4, but perhaps he goes knight e6. And it's like a battle over here. You can't play e4 just as yet, because if you play it, I take on d4, pawn takes, and then d takes e4, and you lose this pawn. That's why I put my knight here. So it's kind of the shadow fight. Maybe now bishop b2 makes a lot of sense, defending d4 and then trying to play e4. That's how it should have continued, but bishop b2 was a little bit committal, queen d7, and now Botvinnik played a very nice move here. He saw that if he moved his queen to d3 here, black would play his queen to a4, not just defending the knight, but also kind of, coming into this position. So what he did was he played a4, rook fe8, and now came the move queen to d3. This is your question now from the black's perspective. What do you think should black play here? Come on, tell me your move. Black to play, what would you play? Black to move here, what would you do in this position? Guys, be careful, yeah? Don't say moves like knight e4. You're losing your knight here. c4, okay. c4, knight b8, knight c7. A lot of interesting moves. In fact, in this very position, Capablanca played the move c4. And everyone said, no, Capablanca, what are you doing? How can you play this? Can anyone tell me why is c4? Maybe it's a good move, maybe it's not. But the question is, why did people say c4 is not a great move? What is the concept at work here? There's one concept that I wanted you to understand here. Why is c4 was not considered so good? There's one sort of a statement I'm looking at. c4 is locking the bishop on b2, queen has to go back, so that's plus, okay, thing of it. There's something wrong with that move. Abhijay Sharma, thank you so much. He says, love the way you explain chess. You have a very important role to play towards chess in India. Sagar Shah. Thank you, Abhijay. Yes, Anirudh Barve, very good. Anirudh Barve has got exactly what I wanted to say. Releasing the tension. Don't release. Yes, Spielwolf, exactly right. The point is, when you play c4, you release the tension. And now, white is like, okay, I'll play my queen back. I'm fine. But now, when I will get f3, e4 in this position, my d4 pawn won't be hanging because you release the tension. And this happens so often, not just in our chess games, but also in life. We are in the middle of something difficult and we are like, chalo na khatam karte, let's finish it off somehow. We release the tension, and often when we release the tension, it can go either way. It can be good, it can be bad. The player who can hold on to the tension, for example, knight c7, because now cd4 is possible, dc5 is possible, c4 is possible, so many possibilities are there. The person who can navigate through all of this well is a good player. So that's the reason why releasing the tension at the right moment is very important. c4 might not be a bad move, but Botvinnik was like, thank you so much, I'm going ahead with my plan. What was his plan? Queen c2, knight b8, and now third question to you. We have asked two questions. Third question in this position, what should white play? For the third point, let's see how many of you get it. Yes, center break now becomes easy. Very good. All of you who said now central break becomes easy, absolutely right. c4 is generally not a good move in such positions. Yeah. nb8 here is not a bad move. You know what Capablanca said? I want to go knight c6, knight a5, knight b3, and I want to attack this pawn because your rook would anyway not be here. That was a long-term plan, and you can see the difference in the way the old player and the young player is thinking. Capablanca is more like, oh, I'll play positionally, and Alekhine is more like, Botvinnik is more like, I'll go on and I'll attack in this position. So guys, f3 is the part of the plan, but don't blunder this pawn here. Don't blunder this pawn. All those who mentioned the move knight g3, you get a point here. All those who mentioned the move rook to e1, fantastic. This is rook a e1 is the move that was played in the game. Also very, very strong move. And now look at this very carefully. Okay, how to decide which rook goes where. Some of you may think, why not rook f e1? Well, when you put your rook on e1, and then you play knight g3, f3, e4, and black takes, I take back. Look which file has opened up, the f file. And suddenly you put your rook from f1 to e1. So in chess, the placement of rooks requires a sort of futuristic thinking. You need to look at the position and ask yourself which files are going to open up. And in this case, the f file is going to open up, and that's the reason why you must go with the rook a e1. Okay, and that's what will come into very big use. Rook a e1. Capablanca was like, thank you, Botvinnik. You have now left the control of the a4 pawn. So I'm going knight c6. Botvinnik like, too slow. This is too slow. I don't know how Botvinnik used to speak, but that's what he would be in his mind. Next question for you for the fourth point. What should white do here? Just very quickly, I want you to get involved in the game. I want you to also think like Botvinnik, not just on the surface. What should white play here? There's so many people saying, oh, play Among Us, shaving OP, chikna OP. Guys, come on, focus. You need to learn this. Yes, great job, guys, great job. Knight g3, so strong now. Suddenly everyone, once you have a plan, you all are super strong. You're like, okay, let's go knight g3. Brilliant. Knight goes to g3, and we want to go, I won't say that yet. Okay, knight a5. Capablanca is also very, very, he came up with a plan. He's sticking to it. He's like, I'm going here on b3. I'm going to pick up your pawn on a4. So, white to move. Question number 5 now. For the fifth point, what should you play here? Very quickly. Fifth point, what should you play? I look at the time here on my clock. We are down to 39 minutes. Okay. Oh, Kanish Bhausar, fantastic Kanish. Kanish has said, why not knight e4? Kanish, I want to sort of, how can I say, tip my hat to you that you were so alert that you needed to stop this. Very good. I think this was the best move here. But knight a5 was played in this position. And all those who said f3, fantastic. You guys are playing like Botvinnik. You're playing like a world champion. Although he was not the world champion back then, he went on to become in another 10 years. So f3. Capablanca said, I don't understand what's happening. I am winning my pawn here. This is my pawn. Botvinnik, you're losing a pawn. Take the pawn. I don't care. e4. And this is the victory of white's strategy. White, who built up a nice center, is now breaking in the center with f3 and e4. And Capablanca was like, okay, I'm picking up a pawn. Okay. Botvinnik is like, I'm playing e5. I'm pushing you further back. And e5 is a very strong move. Knight d7. And now it's your turn, guys. What would you play here as white? Let's see what would you do here as white. what is the move that you would play? White to move. The pawn on a4 is very weak, while the center is more important, Maharishi says. Yes, I believe that. Center is more important. Also, look at this bishop. Horrible bishop, horrible. I want to kill that bishop. Look, but no. It can come from c1 anytime. It could get a life from a3. Who knows? Another advice. A person who may not be very useful right now in your life could become very useful. Yeah? You have to be just observant. There's such nuggets of philosophy. Please allow me to say it, even though sometimes they may not make sense, but still I'll keep saying that. All those who said f4 here, guys, f4 is not a bad move, but you need to understand this knight here is kind of claustrophobic. It's like, where am I playing? There's not much space on b3. I should go to a square from where I have more scope. So where should it go? And it sees, the queen is undefended. So I can actually, if it's my move here, if it's black's move, I can play knight c5. I'm like, what? Yes, because queen exchange favors. Whom does it favor? It favors black. Because black is pawn up. White is trying to attack, so he cannot exchange the queens. And when the queen moves somewhere, let's say here, then the knight comes to a beautiful square on d3. So keeping all of this in mind, what did Botvinnik do here? Botvinnik said, I know your devious plan, Capablanca. I'm playing queen f2. And this is known as prophylactic thinking. All the people here who are saying that, hey, you should get on with f4, f5 and stuff like this. You must remember, in chess, equally important is to stop your opponent's idea. You cannot always be like, I want to further my plan. Sometimes you need to stop your opponent's plan as well. And so queen f2, a point to each one of you who said queen f2. I'm very glad. Capablanca now was like, okay, I have misplaced my queen, my knight. What am I doing? He's coming like an avalanche here. The pawns are coming to me. No, but Capablanca was a wily old wolf. Yeah, at that time, although he was quite old, but he was still very, very sharp. He played g6. And now Botvinnik said, onwards, going on the attack, f4. And Capablanca played the move f5. I like this move tremendously because now he is saying, look, Botvinnik, your bishop is horrible, yeah? Look at these pawns blocking it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to block your passed pawn here with a knight. Because as we all know, what is the best blockader of a passed pawn? A knight. A knight blockades a passed pawn amazingly well. So if it was black's move, he would go knight f8 and then he would put his knight on e6 and he would be the happiest person in the world because he's blocked the passed pawn with his knight. Botvinnik said, I can't let this happen. Most of the things happen in chess by common sense. You cannot allow your opponent to block the position. So you take... Guys, what is this called? What is this rule called? Please tell me. Tell me in the chat. Someone will be like, oh, this is magic. What illegal move? Something. I hope no one is like that. Yeah, please tell me what is it called. I know there are certain people who are just beginning out chess who are still here, and I want you to understand this as well. Coder's blog says, very nice question. I have a doubt that c4 releases the tension, but Botvinnik played e5 and also released the tension. Guys, at the right moment, you have to release tension. Kitni der tak tension leke rakhoge? It's like, you know, this example of tea, making a tea. What is that? For example, when you keep the gas at a specific temperature, there's tension. You see, it's boiling. And you need, at the right moment, when it comes up, you need to switch it off or else it will go. So here, e5 is at that moment where you are releasing the tension but getting a pawn mass to move forward. So at the right moment, you must release the tension always. c4 was not the right moment to release the tension. That's the difference. Yeah, chai abhi tak bana nahi tha. The tea was not made yet in this case, while here the tea was made already. So e5 was fine. Very good. All of you who said en passant, guys, en passant is how you should say. Don't say en passant. Okay, en passant. It's a French word. Someone is saying croissant. But yeah, knight takes f6. And now onwards, you need to attack. And look at this, f5. And you will see how keeping this rook on f1 proves beneficial here. Both the rooks are now in play. He played rook takes e1, takes, and now came the move rook e8. Onward. Now the question to you for 7th point, guys. 7th point here. White to play. I hope you are keeping your score. What are you? Whether you're getting it right or not. It's just sort of for yourself. Yeah. How good you are thinking. So white to play. What should white play here? White to move in this position. What would you do here? Can you please explain en passant? Very good. I have one theory for en passant, which I'll tell later. Okay. And rook f1, not bad. Rook f1, yeah, looks very logical. What else? Is there any move? Bishop c1. You know, guys, here fg6 seems to win a pawn, but unfortunately the rook is kind of defended, and here I can even just capture back, and you can't take the knight because of e1 hanging. And if you take here, I can take back, and it looks like black is okay. Black is fine. The main point being the queen is running back and the king is safe, and this bishop is very bad. So all of these factors combined Botvinnik came up with a brilliant move here. Brilliant. He played the move rook e6. Kudos to everyone who found this move in the chat. Rook e6 is so beautiful. It's like you're putting a rook on e6 and you're asking your opponent, hey, what do you want to do now? Do you want to take? Or I'm taking your knight. You decide what you want to do. Black is like, oh, what should I do now? Because, you know, he's threatening stuff like rook takes knight. Also, f takes g6 may start coming at some point. I don't know. Let me take it. And Capablanca took the rook. Okay, Botvinnik said f into e6. Getting a passed pawn here. But Capablanca was like, hey, look, this pawn is anyway covered by my queen and knight. It has no real future. King g7. He just defended the knight. Okay. Queen jumped into f4. Now queen went to e8. Attacking this pawn. If you give me a pawn, black is winning. Completely winning. So Botvinnik was like queen e5. And now Capablanca played the move queen to e7. And he looked at Botvinnik. I can imagine this. He looked at Botvinnik and said, young boy, you still have a lot to learn about chess. You gave me your a4 pawn just like that. Now I came back and I blockaded your pawn. Next move, I'm bringing my knight back and I'm going to attack this. You're going to lose your pawn. You will learn. You'll learn. Don't worry. I'll help you. And Botvinnik was like, he looked at Capablanca and said, Kappa, you are very good at strategic chess, but when it comes to tactics, you're too old now. What is the move that Botvinnik played in this position? White to move. Can you find that move that Botvinnik played which shook the chess world? This game came to be known as the most brilliant game ever played because of this move. Fantastic. Everyone has already written down the answer. I'm so glad many of you know it. In fact, when I started this class, Ilam Parthi was the first one who said, and I said Botvinnik versus Capablanca. He shouted, Bishop a3 game. This is the move, guys. Bishop to a3. And this is where I want to put this in your head. A piece which looked completely worthless on b2, blocked by its own pawns, not able to come to c1 because the knight controlling it, actually wins the game with bishop a3. Any person can become a hero at any point. What is the idea of bishop a3? The idea is to not just clear this pawn towards queening. That is one thing, because anyway the pawn can be controlled by the knight. The main point is that you want to deflect. It's called deflection. The queen from e7 is deflected to the side of the board, and now comes the next move. This is my 8th point question, or no, 9th. This one, bishop a3 was the 8th point. So the 9th question in the game, what should white play here? White to move. Are you ready with your next move? White to move. Capablanca was already a little bit jittery, yeah? What? I had not seen this move. Botvinnik has played bishop a3, but I must take it. I can't do anything else. I can't like say, hey, I'm going back and then allow the pawn to advance further. No, this is bad. I must take it. Yes, knight to h5. Fantastic move. All those who said this, brilliant job, guys. Brilliant job. Because now, after g takes h5, which is kind of forced, otherwise you will lose your f6 knight either by the knight or the queen. So take. And now Botvinnik said, check. You have only 2 places to go. King f8. He took with a check. And now Capablanca was already nervous, yeah? But look at this. I have read this somewhere. Guys, you can confirm this if this story is true or not. He played his king to g8 and he moved away from the board. And he said, Botvinnik is there, young mind, thinking like this on the board. And he is walking away. He's walking on this area. He's like saying to Botvinnik, yes, you got your pawn here. Yes, you got a nice 2 tactics with bishop a3 and knight h5. But I have a perpetual check here. Your king is not going to run away. And Botvinnik here comes the greatness of a world champion, future world champion. What do they do the best? They believe in their abilities. Botvinnik thought for a while. He was nervous, he was playing a great player. But he calculated carefully and he played the move e7. He was like, no, there's no perpetual check. Capablanca came back to the board. He gave a check. And now Botvinnik had to move his king. If he brought his queen back, I can just take and play king f7 and black wins the game. So he had to play here king f2. It looks like an open board with the queen can check the white king for a long time. But no, after check on c2, king went to g3. And now he gave a check on d3. Yes, you could give a check here, but the problem is after king maybe h4, there are hardly checks in the position. We'll come to even this like queen e1 check. I think you can go g3 maybe. Possible. Or you can just take this pawn. It will be similar to the game. He gave queen d3 check. Botvinnik was like, I'm going up. King Capablanca gave another check. Botvinnik took the pawn. And now another check. Here's my last question to you. You are sitting like Botvinnik in the chair. You are there. You know that you've got your opponent. He's checking. He's still confident. This is the thing about experienced players. They are poker faced. They never show what their true emotion is. Capablanca might have known that he's losing, but he won't show it. So here is your move. White to play. What would white play in this position? You are white. You're being checked constantly. You're checked incessantly. Where should you move your king? Where should you move your king? Such a nice chat. Everyone's thinking about chess, but there's this one person in the chat who's like, Sagar, why did you shave? Guys, think about Botvinnik. Think about his pressure at that moment. AVRO tournament in Netherlands, 1938, 22nd of November. This game was played. And then, forget about why I shaved on anything. All those who say G4, Guys, did you see that h2 pawn is hanging here? You need to be careful. You can't let such pawns hang just like that. It won't be good. It won't be good. Or have you calculated that after g4, I can play queen takes h2, king g5, and I'm fine? You're not fine, because there's a check here, and then there is check and check and check, and you are in trouble. For example, king f5. Let's say what happens here. King f5. There are many ways to I'm just trying to think what would be the best way. Can I take here on d4? Pawn takes. This is one variation which we should look at after g4. It's a good thing we'll look at in our analysis. The move that was played was king h4. Capablanca said check, and Botvinnik now played his pawn to g4, and now he blocked it. Kappa gave another check, and king came to h5, and that is all she wrote. Over here, queen f8 check followed by queen cannot be stopped at all. And at this point, Capablanca said, I resign. Game is over. That is done. What a brilliant game by Botvinnik. He's played the most amazing game, I would say here. A brilliant display by him. And now comes the part of this entire thing, you know, what I did right now. Let's go here and let's try to quickly get the board here. Oops, this is not how I wanted it. Let me just make sure. What I'm going to show you now is the art of analysis, and we have how much time left, guys? Just let me quickly yeah, I should have brought the clock also here, the timer, because we have to finish all of this in an hour. Yeah, that is the prerequisite of what we decided. Yeah, so here, this is what I showed you right now. You see, all these yellow marks that I have are my questions to you. I prepare it so that I know which point I should be asking you questions. So all these yellow marks. But now let's do the analysis part. I'm going to bring that timer here. If you don't mind, just give me a second. What is the timer called? Play chess. Okay. One second. Yeah, 1 hour timer. Ooh, we are down to what, 20 seconds. Let me just quickly make this smaller like this. Tomorrow I will make sure that I don't lose time in doing this, but we have 19 minutes to finish the analysis of this game. Guys, how did you like the game? Did you enjoy it? Did you learn from it? Now comes the most important part of this entire series that I wanted to do, is to teach you how to analyze a game. Okay, so you see, this is the entire game here. Now I open up this game and I go up here and I say d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, and I'm going to write here, this is the Nimzo-Indian. Okay, e3, the Rubinstein system. Does the box open up here? The box doesn't open up. Wait a second, let me make sure that I use display capture. Perhaps that would be much better. Yeah, then it becomes easier for you to see. e3, the Rubinstein system, d5. This move was considered for many years to be not in the spirit of the Nimzo-Indian, because on one hand you want to double the pawns on c3 and c4, but on the other hand you are undoubling the pawns with d5. So I try to write down what I learned from this game. Now what is bishop c3 bc3 c5? Okay, that's just a variation I had put for explaining, so I delete it. Queen a4 knight c6 is just another line. It's not like a winning move or anything. Now bishop takes c3 a3. We put a small sort of interesting move. It's not an exclamation move. Interesting. Shift 1 leads to this panel. So I put an interesting mark and I say Botvinnik immediately tries to resolve the tension here. Again, this is some form of tension. Bishop e7 is possible, but it's possible, but Capablanca decided to take on c3. Okay, so takes c5 cd ed, and now this is an exclamation move. I would put this as an exclamation, the start of a very nice strategic plan where white puts his pieces in the center in a way where they are behind the pawns and you can expand with f3 and e4. So the plan is bishop d3, ng e2, f3 and e4. That's how white wants to play here. Castles, ne2, nf3, I would say dubious mark. You see, I put a question plus exclamation mark, does not fit into Botvinnik's plan. Yeah. So knight e2, b6. Capablanca tries to exchange the very active bishop on d3 with his not so active bishop on c8. Okay, that's the plan with b6. Castles, bishop a6, takes, bishop b2, I would say dubious. This bishop could well have been kept on c1 because it could have been activated on the c1 h6 diagonal, the c1 h6 here, or on the b2 a1 h8 diagonal. There was no rush to develop this bishop. Yeah, so now I would say queen d3 was much better. You see there's this variation below. I put an exclamation, an interesting mark. So exclamation and question mark is interesting, question mark and exclamation mark is dubious. You will learn all of this as this series goes by. I want to teach you the art of analyzing. How do you analyze a game? So f3, knight e6, e4, maybe this is just, I can say dubious. I'll put this mark here, question mark. Bishop b2. Yeah, let's go to the game. Bishop b2, queen d7, a4. Botvinnik prevents the queen from coming to a4. Rook f8, and now queen d3, attacking the knight on a6. c4 was played in the game, and I would put a dubious mark to it, and I would say Capablanca, although the move in itself might not be so bad, Capablanca's idea was to reroute his knight from a6 to b8 to c6 to a5 to b3, which is very slow. Hence c4, which releases the tension in conjunction to this entire knight tour, is not a good idea. Yeah, knight c7 is what I suggest. Whenever you say something is not good, you also suggest what is better. So here I would say knight c7 was the better move. c4, queen c2, knight to b8, and now rook to ae1. It's very important to choose the right rook to be placed in the center in such positions, because if you do not choose, because if you would have put the other rook on e1, it would have been a mistake. After f3 e4, the center is going to be opened up and you will need your rooks on e1 and f1. You see, this is the plan. This is why you bring the other rook to e1. Knight c6, knight g3, knight a5, f3, and here is where one very nice move was suggested with knight e4, and I would give it an exclamation mark, stopping White's plan of f3 and e4. This is why c4 was okay, because this move existed. Knight a5, f3, exclamation mark. This is e4, queen takes e4, e5, and I can write here both sides have sort of followed their plan religiously. Black has won a pawn on the queen side, while white has expanded in the center. It remains to be seen which plan is more successful. In the end, we got to see that Botvinnik had the much more superior plan. You see, chess is a game of plans, yeah, many times. And now queen f2, prophylaxis against knight c5, because then the knight would have been able to move to the center with a tempo. Okay, g6, f4, f5, e into f6. This had to be played because otherwise black would have cemented his position with the knight on e6. By the way, for all those who are asking about en passant, my explanation is that in such positions, if black played f6, you can take, right? It's a normal capture. So therefore, the fact that black has an option to move 1 or 2 squares means that in both the cases, white should have the same option to take the pawn. So f6 if can be taken, f5 should also be allowed to be taken, and that's how en passant was created. Okay, knight f6, f5, take, rook e6, a fantastic move. My question here is, was black obliged to take this? Could he have not played something like king g7 here? Does that make any sense? I must analyze this move. Take, take, does this lead to a mate or something? We will analyze it. So rook into e6, f into e6, king g7, queen to f4. Now you want to put your queen on e5, so queen e8, queen e5, queen a7, and now comes the move that made this game immortal. It also reminds us that no piece on the board, or for that matter, some philosophy, for that matter, no person in your life should be underestimated. The bishop on a3 pops out to not just clear the path of the e pawn, but at the same time create tactical opportunities with knight h5 in the game. Yeah, so we're going to just say bishop a3 takes, check, has to take, check, king f8 takes. Of course king e8 was bad because it's a checkmate here, checkmate, checkmate, checkmate. So king g8, e7, and I really love this. I would love to give this also a double exclamation, but I'll give only one. Double exclamation is a brilliant move. One exclamation is a good move. e7, this move gets an exclamation for the sheer belief that Botvinnik had on his calculations. He thought and realized that his king is not coming under perpetual checks and made this move. It shows tremendous self-belief. Queen c1 check, king f2, queen c2, king g3, queen d3 check. Okay, queen c3 also we should look at, but queen d3, king h4, queen e4 takes, queen e2, g4 is one line we must check, king h4 check, g4, queen e1, king h5. The king has been saved from the checks and black is without any resources and has to throw in the towel. 1-0. Throw in the towel is my nice term which I use for resignation. And now I save this game over here, which is in this new database which I created, Chess Classics. Annotator is Sagar Shah plus YouTube plus chat. I would put chat. Yeah, YouTube chat. We both did it together. Yeah, so we should put both's name here. So now it comes here nicely. And have we finished it in time? Let me see. Do we have any time left now? Oh, we still have 5 minutes. Fantastic, fantastic. So now what I would do is I would switch on the engine. By the way, guys, this is something you should do after some point because we have less time. I'm trying to speed it up a bit. I would put in all the variations which are left there. I would analyze it, but I would correct them. So I would start Stockfish or Komodo or Fat Fritz or whichever engine was there, and I would start it here. And now you will see there's this engine here. I would like to place it on the top so that you guys can see it. Yeah, here. Okay, so the line which we had to analyze was here, bishop b2. Yeah, this was not a good move according to the engine. Queen d3 is better. We were analyzing knight c7, knight g3. You see the evaluation here, it shows what's happening. Rook e8, f3, knight e6, and now the engines recommend rook d1 so that you keep an eye on the d4 pawn. and you can get in e4. That's what the engines recommend. I don't like rook d1. You know, it's some kind of feel also you have as a chess player. I would love to play bishop b2 in this position, but now the engine says the move h5. Interesting move, and this is a very common way, guys, because when you play e4, you see h4, I push your knight back. Let's say I have to move my knight again. I go back to e2, and now comes cd, cd, de, fe, with a brilliant move here. As you can see, the engine, knight c5. This shouldn't be missed. Knight c5, brilliant move, attacking the queen, and this is in trouble, cannot take. And next move, when I move my queen, you pick up this pawn and you are clearly winning. So therefore, all this leads me, you know, maybe e4 is possible. For e5, d into c3, e into f6, queen into f6, compensation. Okay, this is interesting. You see how I'm analyzing. Rook d1, also interesting move, trying for e4. Okay, queen d7, a4. We were looking at knight c7 here. Once again, the thing what we were looking at is knight g3, but the computer says after dc, bc and c4, white gets an edge here with a clear edge according to why. So knight c7 may not be the best move. c4 by Capablanca objectively is good. I must change my mark. c4, interesting. I should change it to saying c4 on its own is not a bad move. Please note this. So queen c2, knight b8, rook a e1, yeah, knight c6, knight g3, and now look here, it says ne4. Ne4 is the right move. Now if you go f3, I just take on g3, hg3, and now I want to play e4, but it's no longer as powerful with the knights on the board. So it's recommending rook e6, e4, rook a e8. Now if you go e5, immediately you can maybe go for the move rook g6. Okay, what happens to g4? Maybe this is still playable. I don't know, like a6 with the idea of b5, and these pawns without the knight are not very potent. This bishop alone can't do much. Maybe it's small edge for white still, but ne4, f3, knight g3, hg3. How about playing f5 here? Yeah, this looks much more logical. I would promote it to the main line. f5, stopping e4 seems like a good position for black. Yeah. Now knight a5, f3, knight b3. Oh, time is up, guys, time is up. I need to stop it. Just couple of minutes more grace time today because I did not do low latency. So e4, queen a4, e5. I had to see those couple of variations. f5, e into f6, knight f6, f5, takes, rook e8, rook e6. Yeah, and now my move, which was king g7, doesn't work because of rook takes f6, king takes f6, f g6, king g6, queen f5 check, king g7, knight h5 check. Now two moves. First, king h8 loses to check and mate. Yeah, so king g8 here. King g8 would lose to queen g5, king f7, queen f6 and mate. Okay, cool. And king h6 would lose to, very important move here I think, is h4 with the idea of queen g5 mate. You're not even afraid of this check because I just go king h2. And what if I go rook here, then g4? And now I'm going queen f6 check maybe. That's nice. So we learned something new because of the engine. This all we should think on our own, but because of the lack of time, I'm also using the engine to quickly put in all the variations. So rook e6, f e6, king g7, queen f4, queen e8. Queen e5 was not a good move in the game, you see. Actually, queen c7 was much better. He missed it. Queen c7, and if he goes king g8, now you go queen e5, and now queen e7, you go bishop a3. Much less spectacular, because after takes you can take, you are just piece up. But queen c7 was much stronger. King h6, you can now go queen e5, the same point, but that check was very useful. This was an important intermezzo. Intermezzo is a move which comes in between move. Intermezzo, intermediate move. Queen e5, dubious move. Queen e7 was a blunder. He should have gone knight to a5. White is still better, but black is fighting. And then after queen e7, bishop a3, takes, check, take, check, king f8, check, king here. Now yeah, this is the variation which we were looking at. King f2, check, king g3. Why not take here? Because after king h4, queen e1, g3 may not be such a good idea because of queen e4, and king h5, queen e2. Some problems here because the pawn is on g3. So g3, we should give it as a question mark move. Actually, the better move would be to take the pawn. So let's promote it, and then check, king h4, check, and now g3 should do the trick, because check, I have g4, and yeah, this is winning as in the game. Queen e1, king h5. Okay, so that's how he should have played. Queen d3 check, king h4, queen e4, king h5, queen e2 check, and here we were looking at g4. It's also winning, guys. Well done, well done. All those who said g4, fantastic. Takes, check, king e6, and wins. So it was winning. g4 was also winning. King h4, queen e4, g4, queen e1, king h5. The king has saved from the checks, and we save this game, and we have the entire analysis in place. You see, guys, here, this is the entire game analyzed by you and me. We've done it together. Botvinnik versus Capablanca 1938 AVRO, and analyzed by Sagar Shah and the YouTube chat. Brilliant, yeah? Brilliant. I didn't see the chat for some time, sorry, because you need to focus on writing and the time and everything. I believe we took 1 hour 5 minutes, 5 minutes additional, but I'll make sure that we stick to this 1 hour thing in every session that we are in. And guys, if you like this last part of me analyzing this game and everything, then you can get this software, ChessBase 15, which is one of the most important softwares in the world of chess. Every top player analyzes like this. I want to give you this glimpse. Like, we will use 3/4 of our time to learn the game, but 1/4 of our time I want to show you how to analyze games using ChessBase. So that's how it will help you, because this is how you improve at chess. I hope it was useful. I hope it was useful to all of you. Please let me know in the chat if you enjoyed. Time is up. Yep. And yeah, well, we'll try to come back tomorrow or in a day. I would like to keep it alternate, or maybe every day. We'll see how it goes. I'm not so sure yet, but do you like this format overall? Yes, I will put the PGN in the description. Yes, I will make an article out of it on chessbase.in. That's my plan, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, loved it. Best analysis, invitational. Yes, it's happening tomorrow, guys. I have to work on it, or else I'll get thrashed there. Really enjoyed. Okay, thank you. Brilliant. I hope you liked it, and let's continue with this, we have one more series that I'm planning with the comedians, just a secret between us. Would happen in some time. It's basically I would like to invite the top GMs of India, all the grandmasters, with their one best game, and the comedians will try to guess the best moves, and that's how it would be named as Grandmaster Chess. That's the plan. And that's what we want to do. Arihant Jain, is it available for Mac? It's actually a Windows based software, but you can easily run it on Mac. If you type ChessBase for Mac in Google, you will see an article and you will get ways in which you can run it on Mac. Okay, so let's meet soon, and I'll put the link when I put this analysis on my website, so you can come back in a few hours on this video in the description, and there will be a link over there. Why not first give a queen check and then pawn to e7? Hemant Memoria. I think Hemant, queen on f6 is very well placed. For example, in this position, I get what you're saying. King g8 check is what you want, right? King here, and now you want to push the pawn to e7. Now I go queen c1 check, king f2, queen d2 check, king g3, queen g5 check. And you see, this is the reason why. Now I come here, you give a check. This is exactly why the queen is very important on f6. You gave a line and we learned something. This is why it was important to keep the queen on f6. Thank you. Okay, so see you until then. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye bye. Take care. And do like this video. Sagar Shah signing off. See you.